What's up, everybody? For him 2013, right back at you with the third and final part to the Fire series. This portion of the series is going to be talking about being empowered. If you guys haven't already been told, but the Fire series stands for From Within We Rise, Empowered. And this is the third part to that series, is being empowered. So, if you have to ask yourself the question, what does it mean to be empowered? Empowered, the dictionary definition of that means to. There's actually two definitions. I'll go ahead and just read both definitions. The first one is to give someone the authority or power to do something. Right? You feel empowered. You feel that you have the authority, the ability to make a decision. Like, for instance, if you are a manager of a store, you are empowered to make decisions that speaks for the store. The second definition, on a more personal level, says make someone stronger or more confident, especially in controlling their life and claiming their rights. So, have you ever felt that your rights in some sort of way have been violated, and that you didn't necessarily feel empowered to make a decision? Well, to be empowered means the opposite of, in the sense of being able to have the ability to make different decisions in your life, to control your lifestyle, to the things that pertain to your rights as a human being. So, those are the definitions of what it means to be empowered. Is to give somebody the ability to do something, such as head manager gives a department manager the power to make decisions in regards to maybe an average worker or something like that, or somebody having the ability to make their own decisions in regards to themselves and their rights as a person. So what I would like to address is I've done a little bit of research myself in regards to empowerment, and I find five. I guess I would like to say five main types of empowerment, and you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. I'll stand corrected with these kinds, but I think just hear me out. I think that it says something. So, the first kind of empowerment is economic empowerment. Economic empowerment means how people work to create wealth. Right? You think about the economy, you think about money, you think about finances and things of that sort. So, economic empower. What does it mean to empower yourself economically? That means to have the ability, the assets, have the access to things to help you be able to create more wealth for yourself. There's an old saying that says to surround yourself of who you want to be, or what you want to be like. Well, if you desire to be a wealthy person, you're not going to surround yourself with poverty-minded people. You're going to surround yourself with people who have a mindset to earn money. Not only to just earn money, to create residual incomes, to create recurring income for themselves, more money than what they already have income coming in. So that's what it means to be economically empowered. The second type of empowerment is political empowerment, which is all the things that we do to organize ourselves and to make decisions. Now, that sounds a whole lot alike. Everyone has a policy that they live by or a policy that they follow. When you think about policy, you think about stores, restaurants. You go to a store or restaurant, you can do this, you can't do that because it's a policy that they have to follow. But if you bring that to a more personal level, everybody has a policy that they follow. Let's say that I don't know. Let's just say John is going out tonight for dinner, and his policy is that he doesn't drink any more than 5 drinks on a dinner date. That's just policy that he follows because he knows if he has more than 5 drinks, that he won't be able to drive home or he won't be able to think straight. That such. Everybody in their life, if you think about it, just give some thought to it. Everybody in their life has some sort of policy that they live by, some sort of standard that they live by. It's really just policy. Political empowerment is that you have a rule, a guideline, you have a standard, you have a principle that you live by, and that's what empowers you politically. A good example of that is that you have our government. You think about politics. Politics is just policies, rules, guidelines, things of that nature that we follow. And everything, and at the end of the day, it what it does is that it helps us to organize ourselves, and basically just make more, I guess, better judgmental decisions of that sort. So that's political empowerment, is that everybody has a policy, a guideline, a rule, a principle, a standard that they live by. And that allows you to have a political empowerment. Then the next one is cultural empowerment. Cultural empowerment is what I like to say is what separates you from another culture. You think about different cultures overseas. I mean, just think about, when it comes to different cultures and stuff, such as you have the Caucasian culture, you have the Hispanic culture, you have the African American culture or the African culture, you have the Asia Oriental culture, the French culture. All of these different types of cultures that are different from one another, and that is everyday things such as the kind of food that you eat, the language that you speak, the clothing that you wear, your spiritual beliefs, and the different kinds of ideas that you have. It's what separates you culturally from everybody else. And most cultures, they have a level of pride. They feel empowered because they have these different things that they live by that are different from somebody else. The Asian Oriental culture is maybe different from the African culture or the Caucasian culture or the Hispanic culture or the Indian culture, and it is what empowers you as a culture when it comes to these different things that you. I mean, think about it. I personally, as an African American, a lot of us like soul food, and that is, I believe, something that every other race can probably say. The African American community, they soul food, that's their thing. Collard greens, cornbread, things of that sort. I mean, you think about the different ethnicities and races that live in our time. You think about the kinds of foods. I'll say this much: think about a particular race, and think about what kind of food that you for sure see that it's always going to be in a picture. That's what separates them culturally, and to some extent they feel empowered by that because they have that level of separation from another culture. So if everybody ate the same kind of food all the time, let's say everybody ate macaroni and cheese, every single race there is in the world, everybody ate macaroni and cheese. There's really no cultural empowerment with it. Everybody wore the same clothes, everybody ate the same food, everybody spoke the same language, everybody had the same spiritual beliefs, and everybody had the same ideas. That is such a boring sort of palette of people, of a culture. There's no separation. And you guys can testify and vouch for me when I say that if you are of a different culture and you're watching this video, you can say, hey, as Hispanic, I love different kinds of Hispanic food. It separates us from the Asian Oriental culture or the Caucasian culture or the African American or African culture. Everybody has a certain kind of food, clothing, language that they speak, different kind of ideas that sets them apart of how they view life. And it's a level of empowerment. So The question is, what separates you from others? And that's your culture, what you eat, how you speak, how you dress, what you believe in, the kinds of ideas you have. The next thing is social empowerment. And that is everything people do when they live, work, and play together. I like to say that this is a type of just free will. Cultural empowerment is having the free will of choice. The free will of choice to do whatever it is that you want. Granted, that comes with uh, consequences, of course, because all of these things on this list of types of empowerment, they all tie in together, and one reverts back to another. Um, so you have free will of choice, but there are consequences, which that reverts back to political empowerment, meaning that there's a certain set of guidelines, standards, rules, and policies uh, that a person follows. It gives them that political empowerment. So a person has free will of choice; they can do whatever it is that they want, but then it takes away the political empowerment. Think about it: if somebody can come in your house, eat up all your food, just a random stranger, you keep your door open, and there's really no guidelines to it. You don't really have a political power empowerment in your household, your standard that you guys live by. Uh, and some of these things they start to violate others if it's not put in place or acknowledge that that's what it is. So social empowerment is having the free will of choice. It gives you some sort of empowerment to be able to just say, hey, I want to go to the park, take a walk, look at the sky, sit in the grass, go fishing or something like that. It gives you some sense of independence, some sense of identity to just go out and kind of just do what you want to do, something that brings you peace or happiness. The next thing on our list is, and the last thing is national empowerment. National empowerment is a nation having the power to make decisions for itself. Do you know any nation who gives you that sort of power? Well, I like to say as an American in the United States. The United States gives you that level of empowerment as a nation to be able to make decisions for yourself. For instance, a person who wants to get a job, they have the choice to go and get a job or not get a job. Some cultures, who I will not name, they are a little bit on the dictatorship when it comes to people being able to get a job or not, or people being able to work in a certain field or not. In the United States, as a nation, you have that ability to go out and to make decisions for yourself, and that also opens up the idea that you create your own consequence, your own circumstance in life. You create your own world. If a person is poor but they have the ability to go get a job, and they choose not to, then they are sort of creating that environment. If they got up, go get a job, work, and bring in the necessary income, get them a place, get them a car, start them a family. It's literally just having that ability to make decisions for yourself. So, and then there's one last thing on this list. I added this, is self-empowerment. At the end of the day, you have your economic empowerment, the ability to create your own kind of wealth in life. You have political empowerment, a set of guidelines, rules that you follow. It gives you some sense of empowerment because you're organized and you stay within certain guidelines. Cultural empowerment. Not only do you have like guidelines, but you have a certain belief. You have certain ideas you want to address in life. You have a type of food that you eat, a type of language that you speak, type of clothing that you wear that sets you apart from any other culture. Then you have your social empowerment, which is your free will of choice to make whatever decisions that you want. And then your national is being a part of a nation of people that have the ability to make decisions for themselves. Now, um, then what I had added here was self-empowerment. At the end of the day, it comes back to self. What empowers you as an individual, as a person who's watching this video right now? What empowers you as a person? Maybe a decision that you just simply make that does not, I like to think it's a decision that you make that does not involve anybody else but yourself, right? It doesn't impact anybody else but you. And I like to say the things that define you, that set you apart, it gives you a sense of self-empowerment. So, guys, I just want to say this. When it comes to empowerment, um, you can surround yourself with people to help empower you to make a decision, to help understand who you are as a person, your rights, your beliefs, to sort of like set you up, establish you, and put you on a path. You can do that. At the end of the day, it comes down to you making that decision for yourself. It comes down to you simply making the choice to go about that path. Nobody can force you on a path. Nobody can force you to really do anything, because you do have that freedom to choose not to. Of course, that will come with consequences, but nonetheless, you do have a level of freedom of choice to do what you want. So when it comes to empowerment, you have to encourage yourself, stir yourself up. It's always good to surround yourself with those kind of people that are positive minded. If you want to achieve goals in life, if you want to do big things in life, it's good to surround yourself with those kinds of people. But the horrifying truth to the matter is that you may not always have those people around. You may not always have somebody to push you, to encourage you. So that encouragement has to boil somewhere from inside yourself. You have to conscientious make a decision for yourself to say, hey, I'm going to do this. And that's where the true empowerment comes from, is you granting yourself the ability to make those decisions, to become better in life. I know people, I've talked to people who have been in very bad situations, and one day decided to make the decision to get out of those bad situations. And now they are in much better situations. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys who's watching this video can probably relate or know somebody who is the same way. So the true level of empowerment comes from you, the person looking in this mirror, the person staring back at you, and that's you. The true empowerment comes from you being able to give yourself the ability, the permission, the authority to make those decisions. Just want to say thank you guys for joining me on this video, and I just hope that you guys would have just really got something from it, with COVID going on, COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever you want to call it, with the rioting, the looting, the things of that nature, the different types of injustices that's going on in this world. It grants us a level of understanding of one another. At the end of the day, I listened to there was this video that HBO had posted of, many of you guys may know her. Her name is Sandra Bland. She had unfortunately she had passed away due to different circumstances. I won't talk about that, but she said in her video, and I really didn't know how much of an activist she was, but she said something that really stuck out to me. I try to see like the positivity, the logic in what everybody says, what everybody does, and I try to take from it. But what she said is that during these times that we're living in, this era that we're living in, there is a level of understanding that we, from one culture to another, from one nation to another, from one person to another, simply have to just come together and to understand. Some people may agree with it, some people may not. agree with it and oppose the idea of having that level of unity, but it is what it is. If we as a human race, want to be able to tackle and accomplish and to be able to take on anything that this life throws at us, we have to work together. We have to understand each other. And I watched this anime. I don't know how many of you guys watch anime, but there's something about it that sometimes some of the things that they say in anime, you be like, that's intense. And there was this anime person. He eventually was at odds with. They were both founders of a village. They were going to build a village together, and one person, he had different ideas, but because the other person was so spearheaded into what they believe, that it made this person afraid to really like show their true feelings about how they felt about things. Maybe they wanted to do things a little bit different. Granted, he harbored those feelings, and unfortunately he went rogue and went on a different path. But he said this one thing. He said, when will we be able to show our guts to one another? It may seem the same, may sound weird, but in our day and age, from culture to culture, from one person to another, we are still learning how to speak to each other, how to express to each other how we feel. A lot of times that may come off in derogatory manners, or too far left or too far right sort of actions. And as a parent, have you ever had a kid that they were doing some crazy things and you just wonder why they were doing all of this stuff? And perhaps maybe at some point you just realized that maybe they just wanted your attention. They just wanted you to sort of like understand their immediate circumstance, or what they wanted you to understand or know. I think a lot of times in our culture nowadays, we are seeing spikes here and there of people who simply just want to be understood by everyone else. It may not even be the true intention of doing derogatory things or making crazy decisions, but sometimes people simply just want to be understood. And many a times we talk about, hey, if this person had have told us a long time ago, or may have expressed these feelings, a lot of times there's some of us that are out there who just don't give that listening ear. And sometimes people just want to be listened to. Not so much, they don't care if you agree with them, but they simply just want to be listened to, want an opinion to be heard, whether or not you consider it or not. But in our day and age, it's a matter of understanding each other, guys. Because if we want to be able to take on and prevail against everything that life throws at us, then I believe that we have to work together. Thank you guys for joining me on this video. I really appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Give it a thumbs down if you dislike it, and just let me know in the comments what you think about the video and your thoughts on what it means to be empowered. As always, guys, thank you always.